right, John. You're back from. This is Richard here. John is back from his trip. He's been to the Country Music Awards, and he
Well,
is.
hi, John. John is one of the monitors.
Yeah, moderators. Yeah.
Moderators. Well, John, I want to thank you and all the moderators for doing a good job this year. Everything was excellent. Appreciate it a lot, and the deer do too.
Yeah, and so this is Richard's view out the window here, and basically it's about the same view as the distant cam. John says you're very welcome. It's about the same view as the distant cam, except with a naked eye you can see a lot more, a lot clearer than you can on camera. So this is Richard's view out his window that he gets to have. And yeah, John says you're very welcome. So I'm just going to wait to see if other people can pile on here. Just making sure, because yeah, Bebop says thank you, Richard. Okay, so he's on.
Yeah.
Hello, Betty. And so, anyways, Rich, today is the last
Today
day.
is the last day for feeding.
Yeah.
We fed 114 days this year, 21 ton, around $6,000 worth of grain. Donations covered it this year for the first time. I want to send my appreciation out there to everybody that donated, because without you guys, this probably wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
We had a good year. The coyotes have left. Half of the herds left. And spring is not going to come for another day or two. But hopefully we can talk about a few things, like the state, the loggers have decimated their habitat. The state has no control on the predators, and they want me to stop feeding. They don't condone supplemental feeding. One of their excuses is because chronic wasting disease. Well, we've been waiting for that for decades. It hasn't got here yet, and a lot of deer have starved to death, then have died from chronic wasting disease. And for all you people that ask about it, they still don't know where it is and how it gets here, and we just got to trust the good Lord to take care of that. What else have we got?
So today is the last day. He fed the last 2 bags this morning.
Yeah.
We're all out of grain, and this is going to be it. And most of the deer have moved on anyways.
There's only a few stragglers now.
Yeah. And there's plenty of food available, even though we're going to get some snow today, but it'll melt pretty quick.
Oh, there's a lot of grass.
And there's a lot of
They're eating
fields.
the dead grass.
Yeah.
And they're also eating the wood, spruce trees. They eat a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And right now they're on to the sugar maple sprouts. The sap's starting to run, so they're eating sugar maples.
Yeah. Tammy, the other moderator, just popped on. So all 3 of them are on, John, Betty, and Tammy. And in case you missed it, Richard did thank you guys.
Again, I want to thank all you guys. You did an excellent job. I appreciate it.
And yeah, so and just taking a quick look here outside, and there's only a couple left, but they are showing up quite a bit in the morning, but they'll move on pretty quickly when they realize there's no more food. And there is plenty of food available out there. Most of the deer and other parts of the area, they're in the fields and woods everywhere. So now that they can move around, they can find food. So
when you mention other areas, Mike, the deer from Greenville, Millinocket north, I would estimate it's more than 50% of those deer died this year. This year was like 08 and 07. We lost half of our herd each year then. So places like this, I believe, are a benefit to the deer, not a harm.
Mm-hmm.
But the state still looks at it as a no-no.
Yeah, because of the disease, the chronic disease, they're afraid it'll spread.
They know how it gets here and where it's coming from, but they haven't done anything about it yet. And I can't get into that because
Yeah.
I got too much inside information to make that out.
Yeah. Another thing Richard was telling me about today, that some of these recent deer that have showed up are blacktail deer, and I didn't even realize, but instead of having like a two-tone brown and white tail, they have a black tail. So it's like a different group of deer that have come in.
Family trait.
Most of the original deer that were here in the most of the season are gone. These ones that you're seeing here came in. They smelled the other deer and the food, and they've come in to see if they could get some extra food. But most of the original herd are gone. But the one deer that still is kicking around is this little guy right here, the piebald deer that everybody has seen many times. This is it in February of 2011. So this was 8 years ago.
Right. And it had been here a couple of years.
And it had been here a couple of years. That piebald deer is about 10 years old. And this is it right here in 2011. The same deer that comes. And it was here just what, this morning?
It was here this morning.
It was here this morning. So that deer is still hanging around. And this is a way back in 2010 is another deer that, I guess it's a piebald.
Piebald.
Yeah, just a different.
But that's the only year we ever saw it.
We only saw it that 1 year. And then here's another one. This is in 13. It's another one that showed up. But of course, the most famous one is the one that's been here all season. There's another shot of it in 2011. And we estimate it was probably about 2 years old then. So that puts it at 8, almost 10 years old.
Yeah.
And that deer there. But yeah, so next year, the plans are you're going to build some new feeders.
New feeders.
Wider.
Another camera.
Yeah, another camera down way at the end. And that's going to look in the direction of the road and the woods that you can't see, to the left of the current cameras that you can't see. And it'll look towards the road, which the deer are always looking towards the road. So
well, it'll give the people an opportunity to know why all the deer just run off is because the snowmobile is cut off their sled.
Exactly.
Hollering, hey, look, and
right.
They all take off.
Right. So that camera will also give another close-up of the feed down at the last feeder.
Yeah.
So there'll be another view for the deer that are hanging around down that way. Plus, there's going to be a fourth camera. There's going to be new feeders. They're going to be wider so that it's going to be easier with the oatmobile to
distribute it.
To distribute it, yeah. So we're looking at new feeders and that new camera down the end. And since we are going to put that, I'm going to try to light up, not with real lights, but infrared lights like the cameras put out.
Yeah.
I'm going to put one facing the woods.
Yeah.
So the humans won't be able to see it, but the camera will see it, looking towards the woods. In case the coyotes are out and about next year, we can see what's...
We're talking 5 cameras.
No, that won't be a camera. That'll just be an infrared light.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just an infrared light to help light it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think that it can handle 5, because it's, all at once, streaming all at once. But they have the IR illuminators, they're called, and they'll light up the area so the cameras can see, but not the human. Same thing that the cameras have. So, so I'm just going to read through some of these remarks here. Woofer, who's on here all the time, says thanks. And everybody's saying thank you and hello. Oh, Super Mike says hello.
Hello to you, Mike.
Thanks for all that you do. And the wife and I really enjoy your channel. We look forward to next year. That's from Miles, and he's on here all the time. And then here's Super Mike again saying, can't wait to help out with a new camera and help make the deer viewing bigger and better for next year. Can you add the audio to the wildlife camera? I knew John was going to be asking me that. We'll talk about that later. And Tammy says thanks to Mike. So you're welcome, Tammy. Let's see. Thanks, Mike, and people that are on here. The mods here did an awesome job. Yeah, Miles is saying the moderators did do a good job this year. We went from 2,500 subscribers last year to about 7,500, I think it is, 7.6, so 7,600 this year. So we've gained over 5,000 subscribers just this year.
And next year it'll be bigger.
Next year it should go over 10,
Yeah.
and hopefully, we'll try to improve things for next year the best we can. Now, let me look at some antlers. I'm going to show some antlers that Richard has found through the years. Not all of these are this year. Most of them are
From past years.
from past years. So these different antlers are hanging around on the kitchen cabinets. And some of these weathered ones have been sitting out too long, so they turn color by the time you find them in the spring. And there's some there. We scan around, and there's more here. And antlers all along here.
Shoot down.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if one of these is this year's.
Yes, these two. This one and this one are the ones that we saw the fight.
These two?
Yep.
This one looks weathered though.
Yeah, that's it. Those are those.
Well, anyways, this is from this year, the fight antlers that we happen to see live. There's probably more antlers kicking around too, Richard, or are they all pretty much right here?
No, they're all. I've got a few moose antlers, but these are all the deer.
Yeah, so.
And I got to go out and see about getting some more.
Yeah, this spring I'm sure he'll find some more antlers.
Yeah.
Woofer, he always says he wants you to do a burnout with the Oatmobile, Woofer, no, Richard's not going to do a burnout today.
Not with chains on.
No, with chains on. Yeah, well, today is the last day. We fed the last 2 bags this morning.
Yeah.
And that's going to be it. We did make it longer than last year.
We went 114 days.
114 days this year, and last year was 110, 102?
I think.
No, 100, about 108 though. We got about 6 more days or something like that this year out of it. And even though there's still snow, the ground is getting soft down there, and they're going to start destroying the lawn, and they've got enough food elsewhere, so it's time for them to move on. So it worked out. Now, how many tons did we feed last year? Was it 14? Or was it 21?
It was close to 20.
20 last year?
Yeah. It usually goes up by 2 tons every year.
Yeah.
So next year I can plan on 23 tons.
20, yeah. See, there's some deer. The view that you don't see to the left, there's some deer showing up down there. But there's quite a bit of deer that hang out in the woods over in that area towards the snowmobile trail. And there's actually a bunch of turkeys in the woods I can see down there also.
Turkeys have left. A lot of those have left too.
A lot of the turkeys have left.
We had 75 turkeys at one time.
Mm-hmm. And this morning there was maybe 20 or something down there?
Yeah. They've done the same thing that deer do. I guess it's time to go, and they go home.
Yeah, the turkeys have moved on. The coyotes have moved on. We haven't heard coyotes for 2 or 3 weeks now.
No.
And most of the deer have moved on. So we're shutting down the cameras too, even though the feeding's going to stop. But we're also shutting the cameras down at the end of the day or tonight or whatever.
And we will be back on the 16th of December.
Yeah.
Don't forget, the 16th of December this year.
Yeah, December
we'll be
16th.
online.
December 16th, we'll be back. And today is going to be it for this year. Now, I am going to have that what's called the wildlife cam running, which is a cam over by my house that looks out back towards the woods. And I'm going to leave that running so that you people can still chat and have a place to go and stuff like that. And that there is deer that show up and other wildlife on that wildlife camera. So I'm going to leave that one going. And you can find that right on the Deer Pantry page. And I'm trying to think, anything, what else you got in your notes? Anything else?
Oh, I think we covered it all. My biggest thing was thanking everybody and thanking everybody for the donations. Thanking you, Mike, for all the cameras and the work you put into it.
You're welcome.
That's helped a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everybody appreciates that.
Yeah, everybody does enjoy it, and I don't mind, I don't mind doing it. As most of you guys know, I kind of have fun doing this kind of stuff, so.
But if you people really enjoy it, email your governor and Fish and Wildlife and ask them why they don't participate a little bit more in things like this. That chronic wasting disease excuse is burned up. They gotta find some other excuse for not participating.
Yeah, and these deer they herd up anyways in big yards, so it's not like they're not grouped together in the wintertime anyways. The only difference here is they get fed.
Well, the best thing here is it's monitored. So if anything ever does happen, we're gonna have first-hand view of what's going on. And we have used that. We have sent the film to the biologist and he, got right back to me and told me that it had an impacted tooth is why it was drooling.
On one of the deer, yeah.
One of the deer, and of course he died anyway, but.
Yeah. But yeah, this herding up of deer that, it's normal around, you can go to other places where people don't even feed deer and they're grouped up in large groups. So the only difference this is they get fed, so they get healthy and they survive the winter. So it definitely helps. There's no question about that. And I know some people are always afraid of that chronic waste disease or whatever it is, but it's not even here in Maine yet. I don't think it's even in New England, so.
Well, there was an outbreak in Quebec, which is only 100 miles or so by crow. But that was their thinking originated around a red stag farm. So the red stag farms are going to be a thing of the past, I think, in the future.
Yeah, so they can be brought in from other red stag
That's
deer.
how this is getting transmitted. They're moving one animal from one state to another, and who knows, it's not regulated.
Yeah. And of course, by feeding the deer like Richard does here, it keeps the deer healthier, which makes them fight off some of these diseases that other deer get and die from. So they're so healthy they can their bodies can handle it. So feeding deer definitely is a bonus, even though most people, I shouldn't say most people, a lot of people think it's the wrong thing, but it's definitely a bonus. I can't see how it's not.
Well, they do get habituated to us to here, and that's because this has been going on for decades. And to stop it, these deer would still come here and starve to death. They wouldn't leave. They'd stay here and starve. And I've had it out with the biologist, told them that, I'm not going to stop feeding even though you don't want me to, because I don't want to be responsible for all these dead deer. And the next thing out of his mouth was that they don't want to be either. So I'm going to wait for a subpoena to stop feeding, but I don't think it'll ever come.
Right.
Because they know that
it's helping out.
It's got to be.
Yeah.
I mean.
Now that's another thing too. When you stop, how long does it only takes a few days and then they're gone, right?
Right. And it takes their metabolism at least 6 weeks to change over from eating grain to eating shrubbery, trees, grass, and the enzymes or whatever it is in their stomach takes over and they go back to their normal diet.
And in the summertime, you don't see a deer around here.
Last year, from the day we closed till December 16th, I saw 9 deer all summer. And I travel in the North Maine woods every day.
And no deer around here.
No.
So it's not like all these deer are coming here looking for food all summer. They're gone. You don't see them at all. They're in their normal habitat.
The deer and the moose both took hell up north.
Yeah.
All of last year's calves on the moose are dead. If the winter ticks didn't kill them, the winter did. And as far as the deer go, I can guarantee it's maybe more than 50 or 60% are dead. So we've lost a lot of deer.
Up north,
Up
north of here, it's even worse. They've had so
Yeah.
much snow. I mean, they had 150 inches of snow, whatever it is.
I heard 163.
It might have been. It might have been. So they've had so much snow that the deer, unless people are feeding them up there, which they might be in certain places, but a lot of the deer just can't. The young and the weak can't handle that snow condition.
Well, the young ones are the first ones to go because mommy and daddy can reach up into the trees and get something to eat, but that little one can't reach up there and he'll die.
Right.
And I'm afraid that happened a lot up north this year.
But they control that somewhat with the amount of deer permits they give out for hunting. If the more deer you lose, the less permits they get. But
It doesn't make sense to me. They knowingly know that all of these one whole generation of moose is gone, and they up the moose permits by 11%.
they try to control it anyway. They don't do always a great job, but they do try to control the deer population by giving out doe permits, they call it here in Maine, to shoot the female deer.
Right.
And they can control that every year. It's either up or down from the year before. They try to control the deer population that way with permits, but there's plenty of deer around. I can tell you that. People don't have to worry around this area. We've seen hundreds of them crossing the roads and eating grass in the fields. And these deer, it looks like snow right now, but there's a lot of grass around. It's just that we've had this dusting of snow that's covered everything, but there's a lot of grass, and that's why you see a lot of the Maine deer that aren't here anymore. They've moved on and back to their natural habitat. But we'll hope that next year, hopefully we get some big bucks early on before they lose their antlers.
Well, that's only happened once. Usually the older bucks will lose their antlers first. And the young ones with more testosterone in them will keep them and do their business.
The best time
into February, they were still breeding. And that happened 2 years ago. And we had a baby that was born in November.
There's a fawn picture too kicking around here somewhere, don't you? Yeah.
And
at one time we had a fawn with spots on it at the feeders.
Yeah.
And was it last year or year before?
2 years ago I had.
Yeah.
And that fawn only had a jacket. He didn't even have a winter coat. And he got food and he made it. He survived the winter.
Yeah. I can't remember now what I was going to say, but okay, next year, the best time to see the bucks with the antlers, the big bucks, would be first thing, December 16th.
Yeah.
That first week, they very well could drop that first week. So last year we had an 11-pointer for the first couple weeks show up. And next year, who knows, could be a 12.
I think we had 5 bucks that first week.
Yeah.
They weren't all big, but there was a couple of spike ones and a couple of 2-year-olds.
December 16th, we'll be back. There'll be some new feeders down there.
And there was a buck down there this morning that started to grow his antlers.
Oh, really?
Oh, he had nubs coming out. It was a big old buck. He's 5-6 years old.
All right, so the bucks are starting to get their nubs, and it won't be long. The babies will be born, and we'll go through a whole nother season. But so that's basically it. That's the piebald that was here this morning from back in 2011, in case anyone missed it earlier, showing it again. Same piebald was here this morning, 8 years later. So he's about...
Show him this one. This is when I was feeding in Medford, when I lived in that town back in 07.
This is back in 2007. That's the buck that Richard saw. That's a monster. And actually, that was in December 18th. So that's the time you want to see the big bucks, is right, because they'll lose them shortly after this. But that's a big one from December of 2007.
He still had his.
That's a nice monster.
Yeah.
Hopefully we see a couple of those monsters next year. So I want to say thanks to the moderators John, Tammy, and Betty for all their work this
Definitely.
year. They've done a good job, got a lot of subscribers. We finally got the ads to show up on YouTube, which will generate a little bit of money, not much. We still need donations, but it does help a little bit. And I guess we'll sign off until next year. I'll have the wildlife cam going so you guys can still go there to chit chat, but by the end of the day, these cams will be off. So I guess that's
And
it.
you guys have a good summer. I appreciate all your help and support. And I'm looking forward to seeing you back on the 16th of December.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And this is Mike signing off, and we thank you.